Hello, welcome back to Planet 40k. Today we'll be discussing the main man himself, the Silent King. A brand new model that came out with the Codex at the start of 9th edition. So Zarak, otherwise known as the Silent King, is a Lord of War which will require you to purchase a Supreme Command attachment. So the Silent King will be your warlord and you'll get your CP refund from the main patrol, battalion or brigade detachments. Starting off with his keywords, there's actually two sets of keywords here. One is for his triad called Menhirs and the other one's for himself. The Menhirs are two models surrounding the Silent King which we'll go over in a bit. So all models within the unit are from the Zwakan dynasty. The Menhirs are the Silent King keyword, they're dynastic agents, triacal Menhirs, they're a vehicle and can fly. And the Silent King himself has the Supreme Commander keyword, he's a character. Obviously he's a Silent King, he's a dynastic agent, a noble, a vehicle, he can fly, and he's a pharaoh. So tons of keywords for the unit. Now as mentioned, he will be part of the Zwakan dynasty, however he is a dynastic agent, so he can't benefit from the actual abilities for the detachment. The Menhirs are also dynastic agents, so also won't be benefiting either. So he comes at 450 points or 23 power level. Now looking at the stat line, movement 8 inch, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 5, toughness 7, wounds 16, attack 6, leadership 10 and a 3+ save. Mega stats, it's a shame about the 3+ armor save instead of a 2+. However, he is flanked of two Menhirs that have their own stat line that need to be dealt with first. Now the Silent King does have a damage table which affects only movement and attacks. The Menhirs have their own stat line which is movement 8 inch, weapon skill 6+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 5, toughness 7, wounds 5, attacks 1, leadership 10 and a 3+ save. So also toughness 7 which is great, and 5 wounds each, totaling 10 wounds is pretty nice. So moving into abilities, now just a heads up here, there's loads of them. Starting off with your standard stuff here, living metal gaining a lost wound at the start of the turn, and command protocols giving the army wide buff each battle round. Now the Silent King is a noble and of course he's a character, so he will automatically benefit from any command protocols given. So now into the more unique stuff. Noctuli beacons, so in your opponent's psychic phase, the Silent King can attempt to deny one psychic power as if he was a psyker, nice. Next is obeisance generators, so at the start of the fight phase, if there are any enemy units within engagement range of the Silent King, then until the end of the phase, those units cannot fight until all other eligible units have fought. Also nice, now he has got a big base too, so getting into engagement range is pretty easy, so it's going to have a good effect. He's got Faring of the Stars, which is an aura, so while friendly Necron core units or Triarch Praetorians are within 6 inches of the Silent King, each time that model makes a ranged attack, they can reroll the hit rolls. So this buff's going to actually be working on all dynasties, it's not dynasty specific. So you're not restricted here, and it even works on Praetorians too, which is amazing, and it's just re-rolling all hits rather than ones. Faring of Blades, which is another aura, so while friendly core units or Triarch Praetorians are within 6 inches of the Silent King, each time a model makes a melee attack you can re-roll the wound roll. Again, working with any dynasties and Praetorians alike, re-rolling all wounds. Considering Praetorians do both shooting and melee, there's some real obvious synergy building here. Relentless March aura, so friendly Necron core units and Triarch Praetorians that are within 6 inches can move an additional 1 inch to their movement or advance. Again, boosting core and Praetorian units is always a nice bonus. Mine Will Be Done, which affects core and Praetorian units within 9 inch. You select one of them this time, so it's not an aura. But until the start of the next turn, you +1 to their attacks hits rolls. So this obviously works super effectively with the Faring of Stars ability, giving rerolls to hits. Now you're virtually 2s reroll him. Faring allows the previous rule to be used twice, so flank the Silent King with 2 lots of warriors or Praetorians, and both will benefit fully. Voice of the Triarch, so once per battle at the start of any battle round, if Zwarak is on the battlefield, he can alter the command protocol. So if it does, one command protocol that you haven't assigned for the battle can basically have it as active for that battle round instead of the one that you've assigned. So this one's very tactical. I'd purposely not select the best command protocol for your 5 options, and then you can pull the best one out whenever you need it for any battle round. The only flaw to command protocols is that you need to predetermine the order in which they're used for each battle round, so this ability negates that flaw for your best protocol. So read over all your protocols, try to work out which one is the one you're going to really want to pull off. Sometimes you do struggle with them due to timing, so timing is now not an issue. Triarchal Menhir, while the unit contains any Triarchal Menhir models, it does not count as a character for the purposes of Lookout Sir, and each time an attack successfully wounds the unit, the attack must be allocated to one of those Menhir models. You also ignore destroyed models from the unit for the purpose of morale tests. The Silent King is actually destroyed, then the Menhirs on the side do get blown up as well. So this is effectively a mini lookout sir. Your opponent must wound the Menhirs first, which leads me to his next ability nicely, which is Transtemporal Force Field, which basically gives them a 4+ invuln for the entire unit. So that includes the Menhirs as well. So that's 10 extra wounds that have toughness 7 and now have a 4+ invuln save before you can even start hurting the Silent King himself, which is 16 wounds. So it pretty much makes the unit a 26 wounded unit. Next ability is the Silent King. So if your army is battle forged, then Zarak must be your army's warlord, and you'll receive 3 additional command points if he's your warlord. So he is your warlord, you can't complain with that, you're going to get 3 command points. Preservative Auto Torpor. If the Silent King has 8 or fewer wounds remaining, it cannot make attacks with its Staff of Stars and loses the Pharaon of the Stars ability. And if the Silent King has 4 or less wounds remaining, it cannot make attacks with its Scythe of Dust and loses the Pharaon of the Blades ability. So this, narratively speaking, suggests that when he loses half the wounds, you've effectively killed off one of those mini Pharaons that sit beside him. And then when you lose another 4 wounds, the other one dies too. So the Staff of Stars and the Scythe of Dust are pretty much attacks made by those 2 Pharaons on the sides. We will go over that in a moment. It now feels more like a 5-man unit rather than a single Lord of War. Then finally, he's got the Vengeance of the Unchained. So when the Silent King is destroyed, roll a d6 before removing it from play, and on a 4+ it explodes. And each unit within 2d6 suffers d6 mortal wounds. So a huge explosion there, 2d6 is big, and only on a 4+2. Crazy amount of abilities there. Let's see how the weapons match up to this. So the Silent King is equipped with a Scepter of Eternal Glory, Staff of Stars, the Scythe of Dust, and every minute is equipped with an Annihilator Beam. So starting off with the Scepter of Eternal Glory, it's both a shooting and a melee weapon. So the shooting side of it is 24-inch range, assault 3, strength 8, -3 AP and 2 damage. So a solid strength 8 weapon, -3 does the job as well, and 2 damage a pop, not bad. It's only a mid-range weapon, but you want him charged up the middle and dominating the battlefield anyway, so it shouldn't be a big issue. Hitting on 2s also meaning on average you're going to hit 2.5 times. Wound and toughness 4 on 2s, again giving an average of 2.1 wounds. Each one very likely to kill a Primaris Marine if you're against Marines, so a good start to the weapon loadout there. His melee version is strength +4, making it strength 9, -3 AP and 2 damage. So it almost matches the range variant, except it's a strength 9, so you can wound toughness 8 models on 3s. There's also much more attacks in melee, of course, so let's check out the maths for this one then. So at his best bracket, he's got 6 attacks hitting on 2s, so hitting on average 5 times. Against toughness 4 or less, you're going to need 2, so approximately 4.2 wounds on average there. Against toughness 5 to toughness 8, you're going to need 3s, giving an average of 3.3 wounds. Then against toughness 9, you're going to need 4, so an average 2.5 wounds. So anything toughness 8 or less is doing a lot of work on. Against infantry, he's flat out killing 4 Primaris Marines a go, and against vehicles, he's dishing out approximately 6 damage. Now this, of course, all before armor saves, so they're probably going to get a 6+ armor save or an invuln save. So you've got to take that into consideration. Now it doesn't end there, as the 2 Pharaons that sat beside him can also fight. One with the Scythe of Dust that has 4 attacks, and the other with the Staff of Stars, which will get 3 attacks. So the Scythe of Dust is strength +3, making it a strength 8, -4 AP and 3 damage. And as mentioned, each time the bearer fights he gets 4 attacks. So 4 attacks, again hitting on 2s, is about 3.3 hits and wounding toughness 4 or less on 2s, giving about 2.8 wounds. And -4 AP and 3 damage a pop is brutal. Against toughness 5 to toughness 7, it's 3s to wound, giving on average 2.2 wounds. So against elite units and light vehicles, it's working hard too, giving you just over 6 damage on average there. First toughness 8 on 4s, giving you 1.7 wounds. Not much against toughness 8, but it does add to the Silent King's damage output against toughness 8 of about 6 wounds, so it starts to add up. Then you need to consider the last Pharaon with the Staff of Stars. So this one's another multifunctional weapon, both shooting and melee. So I'll cover the melee side first, as we're still talking about melee weapons. So it's strength user, making it strength 5, -2 AP and 1 damage. So it's not the best weapon, but this is more of a ranged weapon, this one. Each time the bearer attacks, he's got 3 attacks. You're still hitting on 2s as well, so it's a nice little extra against toughness 4 infantry or light infantry that you don't want to be using up your strength 8 weapons on. His ranged weapon, however, is pretty decent. So again, hitting on 2s, with 9 shots on average, you're going to hit around 7.5 of those, and likely to be wounded on 3s, resulting in 5 wounds. And at -2 AP is effective enough, although it is only 1 damage, so only really helping to remove screens or just firing at those weaker targets that are in combat with you to get rid of them. Now just one more thing of note here, in terms of the melee attacks, the Menhirs actually have 1 attacks each, although they are weapon skill 6. I'm not going to go too deep into that. They do have a ranged weapon called Annihilator Beam. Now this is a bit of heavy kit here, 36-inch range, heavy 1, strength 12, minus 4 AP and damage is 6. Just a flat 6 there. So some serious weaponry here. Firing at ballistic steel 2 as well, so save those command rerolls for any misses here. In fact, this is the first weapon that I would fire in the shooting phase, because then if you don't need your command reroll here, you can use it elsewhere. Otherwise, if you do save it till last and you don't actually need the command reroll, then you could have used it elsewhere. Strength 12 will hurt anything there is to hurt, and if there's no invuln save, it's going straight into a 6 damage each. So these will definitely be targeted first to not only get the Silent King down, but just to remove those strength 12 weapons as well. If you wound with 2 of these against anything, you're going to be doing 12 damage straight, so that's pretty insane. So if you do hit with both, then maybe you can use your command reroll in case you mess up the wound roll. Moving away from the weapons, the Silent King has a built-in warlord trait called the Triumph's Will, which is the Zwakhan warlord trait. So this is being able to use one of your command protocols twice the battle. So if there's a really good one that you want to keep using, you can pull this off. The warlord trait will still ask you to predetermine the protocols even if you're using it twice. So as he's a character, obviously no relics for him, so that just leaves the stratagems. So to start us off, we can go into the Zwakhan stratagems. The Empiric Damping for 1 CP. You can deny a psychic power on a 4+. Now this is completely different to his Noctile Beacon ability, as that lets you deny as if you were a Psyker, so you would have to roll 2d6 and try and beat your opponent's psychic charge roll. Whereas this stratagem is just a straight up 4+, so you could actually use this after you've attempted to deny the witch, as they are separate. Techno Oracular Targeting for 1 CP lets one of the hit rolls of a range attack auto wound. Now if there's ever a good time to use this, it is now. I'm thinking of those strength 12 beams. Against toughness 7 and onwards models, you still need to wound on 3s. Now the odds are in your favour that you're going to wound, and you could just use a command reroll, but this strat is 100% effective, whereas the command reroll isn't. So bear that in mind. Stellar Alignment for 1 CP, as he's not Titanic, lets you use the Silent King's best bracket for the damage table, so he can retain his movement and attacks if needed. Curse of the Pharaon for 1 CP, if you want him to explode once destroyed, and the range is a massive 2d6 and the damage d6 mortal wound, so if he's in the middle of a lot of units, this is going to really hurt. So there's one more which synergizes with Lich Guard if you fancied using those. Eternal Protectors for 1 CP, so if your Lich Guard are within 3 inches of a noble unit such as the Silent King, then they get an additional attack. They do however need to be in the same dynasty though. So to conclude the review, this thing's an absolute nightmare to go up against. It hurts virtually anything it spots, and it's durable as they come, with a total of 26 wounds to get through, and it can fight, it can shoot, it can buff. It's an all-out champion. The buffs in particular are really strong, and don't forget that 4+ invuln save as well. Praetorians are obviously benefiting hugely from all the buffs, even warriors with all their rerolls to hit. Same with immortals too in fact, and also Lich Guard with their rerolls to hits as well, because they're core. Now this thing's going to attract a lot of firepower, or it'll get completely ignored. Either way you should be fine with it, as it can tank a boatload, and ignoring it won't be easy once you jump the Silent King into the centre of the board, so he can just sit there dominating the table. I would like to have seen him with a 2+ save, as he's obviously better than Nemesis Zandrek or Imhotep, but we really can't be complaining, can we? Now in smaller games you're obviously going to struggle to field him due to his points costs, but this is the type of unit that will make up its points cost for sure. Now when you compare it to a Catan Shard, you always question whether you're going to make your points up with the Shard, but the Silent King definitely will. So guys, this one's an easy one. The Silent King gets a Planet 40k rating of 5 out of 5. I mean, thinking about it, he gets 3 command points just for selecting him. He can shoot, he can fight. Don't forget, any enemies that are in engagement range will fight last. He's both an anti-tank and anti-infantry. He can anti-psyker. He moves pretty quick at 8 inch as well. He's resilient with an invuln. Add living metal on top for good measure, and he's got a huge footprint for all those buffs too. You can't really ask for much more. Now being a dynastic agent isn't that big of a deal when he's already got so many buffs. That's what I think anyway. Let me know what you think below. If you are new to the channel, remember to subscribe and hit that like button on the way out. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.